Hi, I'm Rich Gallagher from Sweetwater. We are at the Anaheim Convention Center. This is Winter NAMM 2017, and I'm with Greg from Steinberg. We are checking out Cubase 9. Greg, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mitch. All right, we'll go ahead and take a quick look at what's going on with Cubase 9. And one of the things that we want to do is make it easier for people to use single screens, especially with laptops. So we've kind of organized different zones, and you can navigate the zones by hitting the tab key very quickly. If you want to zoom independently in your project window and not affect your mixer or affect the mixer, and we do this. And these could be easily kind of set up by hitting like Alt-Control-L to hide the left zone, Alt-Control-R to hide the right zone. We have a dedicated transport at the bottom, and then our dedicated editor section. So within our editor section, I could look at my mix console, I could look at events for my sample editing, if I wanted to see my sample editor here, or if I wanted to see my MIDI editing for, I could do like a piano key roll, a dedicated drum editor, or even notation views right here. So whatever is selected will immediately be reflected in my main editor here. So one of the things also that we want to do is when we do the mixer, as we move different parts of our mix console here, it's always easy to completely destroy your mix by just accidentally moving the wrong fader. So as I just come here and I adjust parameters in mix console, we actually have a mix undo and redo. So if you just accidentally moved one fader, it's very easy to do that. Now, once I click here, I can see my inserts and my send effects as well as my faders. Now, each of the dedicated docked windows can also be set by clicking on the upper right-hand screen. And now we could do that, and we could go back into an independent floating window that could be full screen or freely resized. So as I move my different components in my mix console here, as you can see, we see the edit history being created. So if I adjust an aux send, if I wanted to open up a particular channel, I wanted to adjust the EQ, everything that I change here, we can see this mix history just on the side here, changing to reflect everything. Now I could just simply scroll right back through and I can see a detailed list of everything in my mix history. Now, going back to our dock view, one of the new aspects that people wanted in Cubase was a concept of a sampler track. So, or they wanted a software sampler. We wanted to deliver something a little more interesting. So I could actually take any audio file and I could right click and I could say, let's just take this and create a sampler track. And now that I've done that, I can now just trigger that particular sample from MIDI. So instead of thinking of audio as always being either an audio track in your project or a sample, I could just take any of my audio from my project. And let's say if I have a vocal file, I could actually just kind of scroll down through my project here, and I could just drag and drop the vocal file in. I could pick and choose my start and end points. So say I just want just this little part right here. And now I could just grab our start point. And now I could just trigger that particular sample. So we come here. And if I wanted to just do stuff like where I want it to be like most samplers behave when I change the pitch, it gets much slower, but I can put it into audio warp mode to have it automatically sync to the tempo of the project. And then at that point, you could actually just synchronize and keep the same length. So if I wanted to look at different envelopes for a pitch envelope, as well as I'm going to have my filter section. So we have multiple different filter types as well. So we click here. Now, something interesting, we could also just kind of take this with a chord pad. And you can now trigger the chord pad and just trigger the sample if you wanted to. So very, very fast and easy and intuitive of working with this sample track. So, but one of the great things is, since we make a software sampler in Hallion, or we also have sampling drum machines in Cubase, I could actually take this and say, I just want to take that sample that I created here, and I want to do more editing in Hallion or in Groove Agent SE, and it will just automatically load that sample in for you. Now, the last thing we'll take a quick look at is going to be when we want to use we introduce some new plugins as well. So let's say if I look at my mix console here and I want to go to my master fader, there's one new plugin here called Frequency that's really special, and it's an EQ plugin. So it's an 8-band EQ plugin. We're going to have the outer bands will have up to 96 dB of cut. Each band is fully parametric. Now we call it frequency for one reason, is we see the actual piano keyboard here. So as I adjust the frequency, I can say this song is in the key of G, and I could actually just center that particular frequency on the musical key right there. Now I could actually type in a frequency parameter. I think if I want to go G5, I hit enter, and then that EQ frequency can automatically just shift to that particular frequency. So I say, okay, I want this to be G4, enter, and then that will just automatically shift. Now each of the bands is linear phase, so what's really great about this also is if I want to take this particular band, I could say I want it to EQ not just stereo, but I could say my left and right channels independently, or if I wanted to do mid and side. So I wanted to take what's coming in the middle of my panning spectrum, or what's on the sides, and I could EQ those all independently as well. So now one of the great things is you have this great metering inside. So as you're kind of playing back the project, at this point we'll just fast forward a little bit here, and we can see the exact frequencies. But there's this auto listen mode. So now that I'm playing this, I could just choose to come here, and as I edit the frequency, at that point, I only hear the frequency that I'm editing. So if I want to like filter something out or just find the right frequency for the hi-hats that I want, very easy to kind of dial in different aspects. And we can see our frequency display here. And if you want to see that in bars, we can do that as well. So again, one of the things that we did with Cubase 9 is we did a huge user survey, and people said, what do you want? And they wanted to do stuff like be able to plug and play MIDI devices on Windows platform. We implemented that. They wanted better single screen window management. We've done that. They wanted mixer undo history. We delivered that, as well as a sampler with a sampler track. So again, great integration, and everything that you're doing can be done in one single screen, and really kind of maximize the workflow so that you could realize your creativity with Cubase Pro 9.
Greg, that's amazing. That's wow. I mean, just watching you run through that, how simple it is to use the software to really just create music. Really awesome.
Thanks.
You bet. And thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And thank you for joining me here at Winter NAMM at the Anaheim Convention Center. Be sure to tune in to Sweetwater.com for our comprehensive trade show report. All of our videos are at YouTube and Facebook. Tons of stuff on our social media. Lots coming at you from Winter NAMM 2017 from Sweetwater. I'm Mitch Gallagher.